published 1825 EDT, 16 September 2017 updated 1836 EDT, 16 September 2017 Service Cable has launched a new verbal assault on EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker, branding him pompous, self-important and overpaid. The Lib Dem leader called for Mr. Juncker to be sacked and mocked his vision of a United States of Europe. In a reference to his reported drinking habits, Service said since Mr. Juncker has several visions, perhaps he should go and see an optician. Fervent pro-Europeans Service said Juncker should be replaced by someone more attuned to reality and public opinion. Service Cable left last night launched a new verbal assault on EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker, branding him pompous, self-important and overpaid. His comments, made at the start of his party's annual conference in Bournemouth, come after outspoken Eurocrat Juncker, who earns nearly £300,000 a year, said Britain would regret Brexit and set out new plans to expand the EU. In a move bound to be seen as a way of countering criticism that the anti-Brexit Lib Dems are too soft on Brussels, Service said in an interview with the Mail on Sunday. Juncker embodies many of the EU's failings. He is pompous, self-important and overpaid. It is people like him who give the European project a bad name. Juncker puts off a lot of people in Britain who would otherwise be well disposed to the EU. Just because my party is against Brexit does not mean we are not prepared to be strong critics of the EU. Figures like Juncker were to blame for public resentment of an elite that had a sense of entitlement and a lack of humility, said Service, adding people in power have to be sensitive enough to know it's there, but Juncker just doesn't get it. Earlier this week he described Juncker as an extreme federalist. Service has called for a second EU referendum to be held at the end of the Brexit talks in 2019, in the hope that the result of the last one can be overturned. If he succeeds, he said replacing Juncker would be his next objective. In contrast, Service said he had a lot of time for EU chief Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier and recalled wryly that, when he was business secretary in the Tory Lib Dem coalition government, Barnier travelled to London on a mission to discover how the UK, which might now leave the single market, was implementing it more enthusiastically than other EU countries. Service vented his fury with Juncker at a private meeting with senior EU diplomats last week. He told them, if you want to help us keep Britain in the EU, the first thing you can do is ensure we hear a lot less from Mr. Juncker.